This is a wee discussion about the statement correlation is not causation. I believe that this statement is slightly in error. It'd be more correct to say that correlation does not prove causation, but to say that correlation is not causation under any circumstances, I feel is erroneous. I also think that even saying correlation does not prove causation is slightly slanted way of saying it, because there are instances where correlation is actually causation, and possibly many and several instances, possibly even more often than not. It's just that just because something correlates, it doesn't necessarily prove causation. But it doesn't prove that there's not causation either, for example. So, for example, it's a bit like going around saying everything is a coincidence, or there's no logic to the universe, or there's no pattern in the universe. There could be several cases where when something does correlate, there is a cause between it. So, and the notion in science also is a hypothesis starts with the notion that anything is possible. Nothing is ever disproved in science. It is only not proven at this point in time, which means that at any time in the future, it could still be proven. So, like I say, true science starts with the notion that anything is possible. It's only a marker. You often get scientific experiments that disagree with each other, depending on the circumstances and the nature of the experiment. Some scientific experiments might be considered more correct conditions than others. Some scientific experiments might be influenced by an agenda. There's even evidence to suggest that a scientific experiment can be influenced by the person conducting it. The notion is that at any time something new could be a new it's an experiment is sort of like a snapshot of in time of data that is being collected. So there could be different data that proves something that has not been proven before. For example, most establishment scientists would probably say that there's no proof of extraterrestrials, and yet a lot of people would say that they have seen ships in the sky. Some people would even say that they've had experiences interacting with extraterrestrials or seen them. I think there was an incident recently that was where a flash came down from the sky, and some people reported seeing an 8-foot being in their backyard. People would generally say that there's no proof of the possibility of levitation or spontaneous combustion, and yet there are reports of it. And there's even newspaper reports of it. Some would say that's hearsay, but we're also perceiving things with our limited mind. So we're perceiving things from a projection of what we think the world is limited to. And we're also perceiving the world from a limited technology as well. Who's to say, for example, that in the future we can't find a technology that sees into different dimensions, and we shine that back on our DNA and find that our DNA has a 24th chromosome that is multidimensional. This is something that I've heard suggested in channelings, for example. So yeah, there's sometimes I think there's a sense where science becomes a bit of a religion, and people get all up on their pulpits with science, and that's not really science. Science to me is about discovering the magic and wonder of the universe, and a childlike sense of wonder. And there's a notion in science where people are using it to take the wonder out of the universe, which is really not what science is for, in my opinion. Science should be about discovery. It's just my 2 cents. Anyway, thanks for listening.